Hey, what's up, y'all? Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about one of the times that I really learned about minding my own business and finding out that if you see a crazy thing happening near you and you go and try to intervene, you are now a part of this problem, whether or not you want to be or not. And there are some really bad things that can come along with that. And another thing I want to say is that none of this story is supposed to sound cool. This happened like 10 or 11 years ago. I'll tell you right now, it was the worst beating I have ever taken in my entire life, and it could have cost me my life, and there was nothing cool about it. This is just something that I want to talk about because I learned a big lesson. But I was on San Jacinto, I was a pedicabber, and there was a line of like 15 people there, pedicabs sitting there, and out of the alley, this guy like kind of runs away a little bit, and then five people come out of the alley after him. One of them catches him with like a hook and kind of knocks him slightly unconscious, and while he's down on the ground, these five people start stomping on his head and his neck like this guy is about to no longer be alive. And thinking about it now, did not know the context. He could have just tried to rob those guys. They could be robbing him. He could have done something really bad and I didn't know it. Or they could have been doing something bad and I didn't know it. But the key information here is I didn't know what was going on. But in my eyes, I don't there's certain types of this street justice stuff that I don't mess with. I can't, regardless of who's in the wrong, seeing somebody get stepped on their face and neck until they pass away, I can't I knew I was putting myself in a bad situation, but I just cannot watch that happen. So I tried to go over there kind of chill. All these other 14 people around me just watching and trying to ignore it. Now that I'm older, I understand kind of where they were coming from, but they were willing to watch this guy get murdered in front of them. So I couldn't jive with that. So I ran over there and I was like, yo, 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 he's done. Y'all won. That dude is done. Just don't, there's cops right over there. You don't want them to come over. And I guess that was the wrong thing to say because they were like, what, you're gonna bring the cops over? And I was like, oh no. And one of them stepped in front of me and threw the most choreographed haymaker I've ever seen, and I moved out of the way from it and then grabbed him. And then so San Jacinto is kind of blocked off, or it's part of it is blocked off for when it's the weekend on 6th Street, but there was a little area where taxis could come and pick people up along with the pedicabs. So I saw I grab a hold of this guy, and this taxi's coming through, and I went back to my old football days where I just drove him as hard as I could into the side of the taxi and then bounced off and got on the ground, and I started feeding him some forearms to the dome. And I was trying to wedge his head in front of the taxi wheel and hope that the taxi was gonna go forward. I don't know what I was thinking. I went straight animal mode, but I tore this guy up for about 20 seconds, and then his friends came. And the funny thing is that the dude that I tried to help had already come to and sprinted away by now. And remember, I'm surrounded by people sitting in their pedicabs, but I had long hair at the time. One of these guys comes up, the smallest one of these guys is 230, 240. Nobody's real muscular, but they're all kind of big. And one of these dudes grabs me by my hair and picks me up partially off the ground by my hair. The bruising and bleeding I had from my scalp was insane just from that. But then as soon as he picked me up, I went to reach, and then boom, someone kicked me in the stomach, and I lurched forward, and boom, I got kicked in the head. Thank God they kicked me in the forehead instead of the mouth, or I probably wouldn't have any teeth, or I'd have prosthetic teeth now. But yeah, I was able to. My main goal was you have to stay conscious. If you go out and you go on the ground, you're done. So I remembered, it was like kind of like with football, like nobody having somebody run full speed and hit you helmet to helmet. There's not a lot of people that can punch that hard. So I was just trying to brace and bob and weave and cover up different parts of my body. But every time I covered one part off, there would be other fists that would come. And to be honest, it was probably only about 70, 80 seconds, but it felt like a lifetime. And once the cops finally started running over, they all sprinted away. But I remember I was trying to play it kind of cool. And I looked at all the people around and I was like, hey, did anybody get the license plate from that car that just ran me over? And then I just started crying because of the adrenaline rush. It looked so funny. But I ended up getting 3 of those 5 guys arrested. And I remember when the dude was in handcuffs in front of me, I was remembering getting kicked really hard in the face. And I was like, man, if I was a crazy person, you're sitting down on the curb right now with your handcuffs on, I bet I could field goal punt your head off of your body into one of the arms of these police officers. But then I'd probably be in jail forever. So I was able to keep my cool and have 3 of those 5 assholes arrested. But the main thing is that I got real messed up and I involved myself in something that I didn't necessarily. I don't even know if I shouldn't have. Because, like I said, I don't want to see, like, I'm conflicted about it. I understand the error of my ways, but I don't know if I would do anything differently now because I can't be passive and watch somebody get brutalized like that. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because that was absolutely the worst beating I've ever taken, and I will remember that forever and ever and ever. And that's one of the reasons why I learned to try to mind my business in certain situations. Y'all stay tuned.